marker, and we will begin. Okay, this is gonna be a very interesting one. I have no idea how long I'm gonna need to talk about stuff in this set, because oh my god, there's a lot of cards in this set, and quite a few that we didn't pull, so there's a fair bit to go over here. But Expedition as a new base set here. It does have base set on the pack code as well, so there you go. This was supposed to be the start of a new era for the Wizards of the Coast stuff. And then at the end of 3 sets after this, they lost the rights to produce the game. And so, unfortunately, this is a bit of a lost age as far as this stuff goes here. A lot of these cards, whilst they are good in their own right, quite a few of them were not as strong as some of the stuff from the Neo sets. The Neo sets really were kind of wild in terms of their power output. And there's a lot to go with here. But also the reintroduction of Muck in Legendary Collection, which is still legal for this entire format, completely destroyed a lot of the viability of these cards, because a ton of them rely on their Poképowers and Pokébodies. And then after this, when the Gen 3 sets came out, the rotation was to Expedition On, which, you know, is this set, right? But the stuff from Ruby Sapphire massively power crept the stuff that was in these sets here, because it was the first set Nintendo actually made themselves, the TPCI as it is now. First set that they did by themselves, and they wanted to make an impression, and boy did they make an impression. So unfortunately, outside of the supporters and stuff down the bottom here, which is the intro of that, a lot of this stuff kind of went by the wayside. We might try and do an Expedition On week because of that, but for now, we kind of just need to go over the stuff in here. So, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through everything in full detail. If there's something that you want me to go over, J-Trot, then just let me know if I don't cover it. But I'll try my best, because there's a lot of cards in here. We do have a lot of this, like all the hollows are also in non-hollow things, so at least there's a fair bit of redundancy there. But yeah, let's just try and go over some of the stuff. So the Alakazam, I haven't quite managed to build with this yet. I think because Rainbow Energy is not in the format in this set, it will be next set, so I think we'll be able to play with it then. Its ability lets it copy any attack the opponent has, but you have to pay for its energy cost. So it's kind of like Sabrina's Alakazam in reverse, where that one copied all of your Psychic Pokemon's attacks. This one copies all of the opponent's stuff. If you want to use its own attack, it's still pretty decent. 80 damage for free energy, 2 of which cannot be Psychic Energy if you want them to not be, so that's pretty helpful. But if the opponent has a different number of energy cards attached to them, you only do 20 instead. You can manipulate that next set with a card that provides 2 colorless, but that is, again, talking in the future. This Ampharos, hey Nuki, how are you doing? This Ampharos is something I didn't get, unfortunately, and I don't think Pepper got it either. Lightning Strike is an interesting move because it takes 2 colors too. A lot of these attacks are going to start costing less colored energy for a fair few of them than what we're used to seeing, so you can make dual type decks a little bit more or play colorless-based special energy. Energy Connect is really neat though. As you say, as often as you like during your turn, before you attack, take a basic energy from one of your bench Pokemon, attach it to the active. This works when you switch too, so if you're playing like a lot of lightning energy to, you know, you've used the other Ampharos to attach them to the bench or something, you can then just bring them all up to the active and do big hits from there. Lightning Strike can discard all lightning, so if you, ideally you discard 2 lightning and do 80 instead of 40 damage with this, which is obviously there to push for big KOs that you wouldn't normally get. Arbok is unfortunately not super good. It pairs with the Vileplume out of this set, so I guess it's sort of worth talking about. Vileplume can flip a coin if heads, it poisons the opponent. That's once per turn, can be done from the bench as well. Petal Dance is interesting because it's way cheaper to use than it used to be. Like Dark Vileplume did this amount of damage and everything, but for I think was it Petal Dance that was on that? Might have been a slightly different one, but it did it for free grass energy. The original Vileplume did 40 damage times, but was also for free grass. This one is just very, very low cost to attack with. If you play enough switching cards, it's probably fine. But it pairs with the Arbok, because if for 2 energy, if the opponent is poisoned, then you do 40 damage instead of 20. 40 is still not really a good enough payout, like it's 50 with a poison tick. That's fine, but not really good enough, I don't think. Blastoise, I'm also not convinced is particularly good. Energy Cannon is basically exactly the same as Hydro Pump, it just doesn't rely on water energy quite as much. 2 to pay for it, and then everything else can be whatever energy you want. That's fine, but we don't have acceleration that really fuels it, so it's kind of whatever. And then its actual ability, if it's your active, toss a coin. If heads, you discard an energy from both Blastoise and the defending Pokemon, the opponent's active. So, it's not super good, to be honest. It tries to be like Charmander Kindle, but it's on a coin toss, it's really not good enough. Butterfree is an interesting tech if there's a really heavy special condition deck, which one of my decks is, so that could be an interesting tech to go against. It's got Venusaur's power, right? If it's on the bench, you can heal all special conditions from your active Pokemon. Its attack is fine enough to, like, 3 energy, 40 damage is whatever, it's not amazing on the stage 2. If heads, you know, remove 2 damage counters, cute, I suppose. It's mostly there as a heal card for status condition stuff. Zero Retreat is nice though, and the Metapod actually reduces damage by 20. Forget where that even is in here. There we go. Metapod actually just passively reduces damage by 20 whilst it's in play, so it's not that hard to evolve into it either. Charizard is the big hitter from this set, as he usually is. He does big damage for big energy costs. It can convert all basic energy from all of your Pokemon to fire for that turn, so you don't have to play a pure fire deck to make this work. This could be important for playing it with Venusaur, as we'll probably see from, we might see it from Pepper. Scorching Whirlwind is the big thing here though. 4 fire energy, just 4 of any basic energy considering the ability, knocks out any Pokemon, 120 damage, that's the highest HP we have at the moment. But there's obviously a catch. If you flip 2 tails, it discards all energy attached to the Charizard. So you can't over-attach to this thing to prepare it for the next turn either, because you might just discard 6 energy or 5 energy, whatever instead, right? If you only flip 1 tails out of the 2 coins, then it discards 2 energy attached to it. If you flip 0 tails, it doesn't discard anything and the opponent just goes, oh crap, right? So, kind of volatile, but super good card nonetheless. Clefable is arguably the best card of the set when it comes to the Pokemon, but it's not for the attack. The attack is terrible. Its Moonlight ability lets you take any card from your hand, put it back into the deck, then search for a basic energy. Any color basic energy. We're probably going to be using this today, because I do have one of it thanks to the decks we'll get into later, and it's super good for the main deck that I want to try and play today. I have already showed it off though, so I don't know, we'll see. Cloyster is not really worth talking about, apart from the fact that it's weak to metal, because it's now classed as an ice type. This is part of the reclassification of stuff from this set. We see the Clefable is actually not resistant to Psychic anymore, because they've finally taken that away from colorless Pokemon. Dragonite, Tailwind lets you once per turn just reduce your active's retreat to 0. You're never attacking with this thing because it's far too expensive to ever try and do so. But the idea is that so long as it's benched, it gives even your like 4 energy retreat dudes 0 retreat for that turn. You might argue just play Dodrio instead. This takes up less bench space, and that's really the main reason to play it. Okay, there we go. Stuff froze for a sec there, so I wasn't too sure what was going on. Dogtrio, I think we found this is generally outclassed here. Magnitude is an interesting attack, because it does 10 damage to all bench Pokemon in play. That includes the opponents, but there are cards that rely on having damage counters on your stuff here, so that could be something important. Fearow is a little bit under the power curve, unfortunately, but Clutch is an interesting attack nonetheless. 20 damage, can't retreat next turn, sometimes that's decent. For Alligator, once again, pretty good. I think this is probably the 3rd best for Alligator out of the 4 that we've had so far though. Major Tsunami makes your opponent switch their Pokemon, if this is active. It's like Warp Point, right? They choose a Pokemon that they want to switch into, and then you choose something to switch into as well. Rending Jaws only does 40 damage if they don't have any damage on them already, which is where something like the Dogtrio can come in and actually do that bench damage first, so that all of their stuff is damaged no matter what. Otherwise it does 70, which 70 for 4 is respectable, that's perfectly fine. Massive HP total on this too. It's now weak to lightning instead of grass, so you can mix your weakness types a little bit there too. Gengar is probably the other sleeper pick as like best card of the set, to be honest. This is probably second or third in total. If the opponent's got 3 or fewer prizes, you can move 1 damage counter from any Pokemon to any other Pokemon. This is an upgrade to the curse power from the original Gengar because that could only move opponent's damage counters around. This can move something from your side to the opponent's side. Its attack is also super good, 40 damage and switch the Gengar to the bench, preserves your energy. We've seen this with Donphan before actually, where it's been pretty good. This doesn't force the opponent to switch as well, but it still keeps your energy safe, and you can then just use easy retreat outs to go back next turn. The idea behind this deck, you sacrifice weaker things at the start of the game to get a really strong setup, and then Chaos Move just lets you put tons of damage on the opponent's side as you go. Golem is mostly interesting because Rock Tumble doesn't apply resistance, 60 damage is pretty solid, and it's also now weak to water instead of grass, so a little bit of a different weakness from the Graveler that you'd play it with, which is intriguing. Reduced damage by 10 is quite good too on a 100 HP dude, so there's that. Kingler unfortunately isn't worth talking about because if you flip Tails it does nothing. Machamp is very cool. It lets you rearrange the top 4 cards of your deck, like once per turn. This is so good with Bill being able to draw the 2 best cards out of the top 4, but it's also just really good to keep consistency going. If you don't have a draw card in your hand at the end of your turn, you look at the top 4, you see, oh, there's a Professor Elm like 4 cards away from where I was going to be. That's great, I can draw next turn and I can keep playing the game. Iron Fist is also interesting, like 50 damage base is a bit but if you flip heads, for every Pokemon you have that has a damage counter on, you do 10 extra damage. So, I mean, hello Dugtrio, right, is the main obvious combo here. Oh, and Leo has disconnected, oh dear. Yeah, like the Dugtrio, or we found out actually that Neo Revelation Graveler would be a pretty good combo for that with Earthquake. So, that's kind of neat. But really, it's mostly here for terraforming, and 120 HP, once again. Loads of big HP totals in this set. Meganium is a little bit underpowered, to be totally honest with you. If you flip heads, you can remove a damage counter from all your Pokemon every turn. You could potentially play this with Alakazam from Legendary Collection to damage swap and just heal 60 every turn. That's on a coin toss though, and is multiple stage 2s of different families. Seems really bad. Poison Powder is also just a little too expensive. Technically does 50 for 4 because the poison ticks over, but it's not really good enough, I'm afraid. Mew is interesting, mostly because the actual E-series part of this, some cards had different extra random attacks and stuff, and the Mew is one of them. I forget exactly what it does. I think it's just like puts a random condition on the opponent, but we can't play that because we don't have the access to it. But we are able to play with Super Psywave, which is neat. We can search, we could just like snipe one of the opponent's Pokemon that they're setting up on the bench, do a few, put damage counters on them. It's fine, it's kind of like the original one, but a little bit more expensive because it can snipe instead. I don't know. Sounds like Discord's being a bit awful, so I don't know how this is going to go in the end. We've got to keep going with it though as is. Mewtwo is garbage, moving on. I mean, it's free energy for a 20 plus 10 is just terrible. Ninetales is a good theory, but I think it's a little bit too expensive in practice. You've got to discard every fire energy that's attached to it, and it does 30 plus 20 for each one you discard. You can modulate the damage you do with this if you are playing a multicolor deck or something, but in general I think this is a little bit too costly for what it does. The baby Pokemon I'm not even going to talk about in here because yes, they still have the baby rule, but they don't do anything at this point. Like, take a basic energy from one of your Pokemon, attach it to one of the others. Whoop-de-frickin-do, nobody cares. Pidgeot's interesting. If it's active, then you can shuffle one of your bench Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. This is like Mr. Fuji, but for, on a Pokemon power. We don't have Mr. Fuji anymore, so, this is kind of okay for that. Poliwrath would have been interesting to have pulled for the Frog deck. If Poliwrath is on your bench, Flip a coin. If heads, take all energy from your active, attach them to the Poliwrath, then switch the Poliwrath in. It's kind of like Dragonite on a coin toss, like the fossil one, except it gets all of the energy too. So it's a bit more realistic to call it Dragonite EX with Bust In from like the Gen 6 era. Its attack is also fine, right? Like Water Punch is respectable enough if you can get 4 waters on this thing. Should average 60 damage and you're playing it in a Poly deck, so that should be alright. Also weak to Lightning instead of Grass. That's another big sort of advantage to this, because all of the Poly deck in the past was Grass weak. So there's that going for it. Raichu we found was pretty underwhelming in the end. 60 damage, 2 lightning and a colorless, and you discard all the lightning that's on it. Plasma's barely worth considering because it's on a coin toss. So yeah, sorry Raichu, but this ain't your time. Rapidash is a little bit underpowered as well. It just doesn't really do enough for the energy cost it has. Zero Retreat is kind of nice though. Skarmory, same sort of deal, unfortunately, especially because this takes a metal energy. Air Cutter also just does nothing if you flip tails, so screw that noise. Typhlosion is cool. If the opponent has got more energy in play than you do, energy cards specifically, you can search your deck for a fire energy and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. This is once per turn per Typhlosion, so if the opponent is massively ahead of you because they just took a big knockout, you can probably accelerate 2 or 3 extra energy in play. Its attack is underwhelming, but still potentially 2-shots a lot of things in the game. Burn is an interesting condition to put on as well, so there is that. And then Tyranitar. If Tyranitar has the Charizard effect of like base set Charizard, and actually, what was it, Erica's Oddish I think had the same sort of thing. Turns all energy that's on it into Dark instead of the usual type. You can't disable this one by confusing it or poisoning it, which is interesting. And then Stamp is just a little bit more of an expensive form of Blaine's Rapidash back in the gym set, where it's like 50 plus 10, so you do 60 if you flip heads, and 10 to all of the opponent's bench. If you play special darks on this thing, you could increase the damage output a little bit. Otherwise, might be a little bit expensive. You could maybe tech this in like a Venusaur deck or something, so you could energy transit. Speaking of Venusaur, this is my other pick for like best card of the set. Harvest Bounty is insane. The attack is underwhelming, but it does come up sometimes because paralysis is not too bad. Once during your turn, if you attach an energy from your active Pokemon as part of your turn, you can attach an additional energy at the same time. This is the Blaine Trainer card, except for any Pokemon, and it plays on the fire, it plays on anything that is more than just fire, right? So this is kind of nuts, to be honest with you. This has enabled a lot of creative deck building for this set, because being able to attach 2 energy in the same turn is just great. It does take a little bit of setup though, which is the awkward bit. We spoke about the Vileplume. The Weezing is the last one here. It's not really too good, to be honest with you. If Tails put 6 damage counters on the Weezing, no thank you. There's a couple of non-holo starter Pokemon here, which are all different from their regular stuff here, but none of them are actually any good. This Charizard's probably the best one, and it does nothing if you flip Tails for the colorless energy. 40 for 1 would be respectable though. Just maybe not on the stage 2. Then Flamethrower is, again, just a little bit on the expensive side. I can literally just show them off as we go here, but they're nothing more than theme deck cards that weren't actually in theme decks, which is kind of depressing. But also, this Typhlosion looks ugly as hell. I'm sorry. Thermal Blast is actually an okay attack, but like, oh my god, just no. Venusaur was nothing special either. Uncommons in this set, there's a fair few that are kind of cool, but they're all part of evolution lines, right? Like this Ivysaur is really good because it's got 80 HP, and its attacks are decent as well. They play into the colorless cost stuff of it, so you can really meld this with other decks, which is kind of nice. The Charmeleon is just slightly cheaper on the fire energy than the base set one. That is in Legendary Collection, so there's that. Flaffy, this 50 damage is a pretty respectable number to hit here. Other than that, not a whole ton. The Machoke is way better than we used to have. I don't know why the Machoke has got no downside, whereas Flaffy does, but it's kind of weird. Common-wise, nothing really too special here. We can see Dart types are now weak to fighting, so they have corrected that as well at this point. But yeah, there's nothing too fancy within all of those, so let's just get down to the supporter cards here, and all the rest of the trainer stuff. So, Bill's Maintenance is probably the second least played one out of this set, but it could still be decent. Supported cards have got the rule where you keep them next to your active until the end of the turn, until Gen 5, and then they get discarded at the end of the turn because you can only play one supporter every turn. So you have to weigh up all of the 6 supporters that we're going to show here against each other in your deck building, and like which one do you need per turn, right? Bill's Maintenance, you shuffle one of your cards in hand into the deck, then draw 3 cards. You can't draw 3 if you don't shuffle one back in, so keep that in mind. Copycat's probably the best one for this format. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw cards equal to the opponent's hand size. If the opponent is just eked and has drawn 7 cards, this will give you a way of also shuffle drawing 7. And you might think, well, we've still got Professor Elm in the format, that does that, right? Yes, but Professor Elm stops you playing trainers for the rest of the turn. Supporters only stop you playing other supporters for the rest of the turn. So if we shuffle draw 7 with this, we could play an Elm still, or we can play any other trainers that we find too, and there's a lot of good ones in here. Mary's Impulse is not one of them though. Flip tilt tails for each heads draw 2 cards. If you flip heads, it's a Bill. If you flip 2 heads, it's a Bill's Teleporter, which is a 1 flip thing. And that's never gonna happen, right? So, terrible card. Pokemon Nurse is an interesting one. Pokemon Center is probably better in most situations, but Nurse will let you max potion one of your Pokemon, and then just discard all the energy that's attached to that one. So it can let you selectively heal things, which might be a little bit better in some situations than Center would be. And then we have Elm's Training Method, which is search your deck for any evolution card, show it to the opponent, put it into hand. So this is better than stuff like Boss's Way for decks that don't play Dark Evolutions, right? And then Professor Oak's Research. Shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 5 cards. Draw 5 is a little underwhelming for Pokemon. I know this sounds crazy from like a Yu-Gi-Oh perspective, right? But from Pokemon it's a little bit underwhelming, but it usually gets the job done. And if you play enough of this sort of thing, it's going to be great. As far as the other trainers go here, we do have a reprint of Switch, which is pretty good. Potion, situationally, could be fine. We have Super Scoop Up still in format, even when the Neo set rotates. Power Charge was Energy Charge in Neo, but that still comes in here. Warp Point stays in the format from the Gym Challenge set, so this is still in play, which is good. Master Ball also stays in format, so that's kind of neat. And then we've got a bunch of good new ones too. Dual Ball is a pretty tantalizing one. You flip 2 coins for each head, search for a non-baby basic Pokemon, and put it into your hand. So this can't get Cleffer, but it can get the rest of your engine, which is, or just your attackers and stuff, which is good. Energy Removal 2 is nowadays known as Crushing Hammer. This card is not quite evergreen, but just about at this point. It's energy removal, but you have to flip heads for it to work. So it's still very annoying, but it's not as busted as before because you aren't going to pull it every single time, right? Energy Restore is an interesting take on Energy Retrieval, where instead of discarding a card and getting 2 cards for your energy, you flip 3 coins, and for each head you get, you take one of your basic energy back into hand. So I usually prefer Retrieval, but I do think this card is interesting enough to consider, and of course when Retrieval rotates, we're going to have this instead, right? Multi-Technical Machine. There's going to be a lot of TMs in the next 2 sets. These apparently are not Pokemon tools by the way that they're worded here. So they don't have Pokemon tool on them, they have Technical Machine, right? So these grant you an additional attack that you can use for that one turn. And the Multi-Technical Machine can be used on anything. Most of them are specific types of Pokemon that you can put them on. But this one just gives you an Auto Paralysis attack for that turn. Which, you know, we haven't had that before. It's kind of cool. I just don't know where you would put it, right? Pokemon Reversal is Gust of Wind, but you have to flip a coin for it. Are you seeing a pattern here yet? Yeah, a lot of the busted cards that they bring back in terms of effect stuff, they put a coin flip on it now. And this just makes it less reliable, so it's less likely people are going to want to run a ton of it, but it could be there. Strength Charm is a Pokemon tool version of Plus Power, which is interesting because you can't combine this with Goldberry and stuff like that. You also can't stack more than one of it in a turn, So you're only ever going to get 10 damage extra off of this, but it's still decent, so there's that. And then otherwise I think it's reprint stuff. We've got Energy Search, which we've had from Fossil, that's come back now, so we don't have to use Energy Arc if we want a reliable version. Full Heal is finally back as well, just heal status conditions without needing to Miracle Berry. Moo Moo Milk was in Neo Genesis, so I guess this comes back, it's kind of neat. And then we also get Darkness and Metal Energy in here as well, so there is that. Finally, as far as the promos go this time round, we have 5. There's a couple of best of game things which are in here. There's this very hard to read Electabuzz, but this is base set Electabuzz, so we can just play the garbage looking version of this thing, and we can actually read what it does, which is great. So yeah, base set Electabuzz is back in here. Rocket Sneasel is terrible. I don't know why anyone would ever want to use this. I guess Entrap is kind of interesting for stopping retreating, but honestly, just no. Ho-Oh is way too expensive for what it does, because if you flip Tails, it's 4 energy for 20 damage. That is clearly never going to be good enough, so don't even bother with that one. Rapidash, I don't think this is any good. Yeah, because you got to flip a coin for its first attack to do a 20 snipe. Hitmonlee is in format, and I know that's 2 fighting energy, but that does the 20 snipe without having to flip a coin on a basic, so there's that. And then its second attack is just not strong enough, right? And then finally Celebi, equally not really strong enough here. Probably better than any other Celebi we've had so far. But yeah, just 2 coins, 20 damage times number of heads. Pretty terrible. We do also have a couple of Fiend decks this week that we are now allowing players to take one of them. So I have taken the deck at the top here because we needed a Clefable. I didn't pull one out of the set. So yeah, that was kind of important. Mostly these are going to be needed for getting extra copies of supporters, so the free Elm's training method was quite helpful, as well as the 2 copycat. 2 copycat is in this one as well though. I pulled like a lot of Bill's maintenance, so we really didn't have to worry too much about that, and I didn't need power charge or anything that way. So this deck was just worse all around. There wasn't really anything in here that I wanted, so yeah, didn't really care too much about that. Now, as far as the deck stuff goes, I haven't seen what anybody else is playing with it yet. I have 2 that I am considering here. The first deck that I'm looking at is not one that I ever expected to. Here's Rainbow Burn. So, this Ho-Oh is something I traded for in the middle of the week. It's actually really interesting. It's just we've never really had a way of being able to use it, right? It takes 4 energy to do anything. It does 30 damage base, but for every different type of basic energy card that you have on the Ho-Oh, it does 10 extra damage. So ideally, we're going to have 4 different types on this thing when we get to attack, and it's doing 70 for 4 with no drawbacks, on a 90 HP basic. Those are really good numbers, but how the hell do you get 4 individual energy, not to mention different types on the Ho-Oh, right? Well, we can speed it up with Venusaur. So, I mentioned this card before, but this Venusaur, when you attach an energy to your active Pokemon from your hand, this lets you attach 2 instead of 1 for that turn. This means that the Ho-Oh can actually get charged a turn faster than it normally would, or if you're already at like 3 energy, you could attach 2 different ones and get up to 80 damage instead. Right, this isn't just 70 for 4 ideal conditions. You can max this out with 6 different types of basic energy, because that's how many are in the game right now, and you can do 90 on this thing, which is pretty ludicrous to be honest. Usually 70 is enough, but if you need extra damage because of other hits, that's going to be the way you do it. Now, this thing is weak to water, which is a little bit of a problem, because water types are generally pretty good. But Venusaur is grass, so any like old for alligators or the stuff like Quagsire and whatnot would get hit by this. Kabutops would get hit by this, and for everything else we play Electabuzz, because this card did come back right in as the best of game. We've just gone over that. So we have 2 copies of this just because it's good early game pressure. Attacks for fewer energy than the Ho-Oh, right? If you have a Venusaur on the bench, you can actually just power this up in one go. So there is that. And then the other thing that we need here is this one Clefable. So like I had mentioned, you take any one card from your hand, put it back into deck, search your deck for a basic energy card. This is once per turn. So this will let you get different energy from what you already have in play on the Ho-Oh. And that lets you attack with your maximum efficiency, basically. Otherwise, we've got our 2 Cleffer. I am not playing the Draw 2 one in this deck because I don't think it's really necessary anymore for the most part. We do have 1 Tyro because I wanted quick attacking stuff. This might also, if we're lucky, we could punish a baby solo, like a baby, I should say a lone baby Pokemon in the active spot at the start of the game, right? We might just be able to kill them outright. So there's that. For the energy stuff here, we have 15 in total. Mostly like 5 lightning, 4 grass, because we do have secondary attackers that need those, and then the rest of it's filled to give Ho-Oh different stuff, right? 2 fighting, 2 fire, 1 psychic, 1 water. Ideally I would play 2 of each of these, but the actual grass and lightning is more important here, and the game is frozen again here. Somebody's loading something by the looks of it. As far as the other stuff that we have here, I pulled 2 Dual Balls, so that's what we have for that. I have just 1 Double Gust in here because we've got a lot of 2 energy retreat stuff in this deck. So unfortunately, like, that's a little bit hard to play more than 1 Gust option. I do play the 2 Switch though, so I have more moving outs to my stuff here. 3 Pokemon Trader. I don't think I'd play 4 in this deck because I only have 17 Pokemon, but you do need to be able to trade for the Cleffer, because the Dual Ball cannot search that. What is going on with... What are they doing over there that's causing this? It's kind of crazy. For draw stuff, we have 4 Elm, 3 Copycat, and 3 Research. I don't have 4 Copycat. I would probably play 4 if I had it, but I think 3 Research is good here too. We also have 1 Elm's Training Method, because we only have 2 each of the Ivysaur, Venusaur, and 1 Clefable, right? These are important to get out of the deck, so we do have 1 dedicated search for that. We have 2 Energy Stadium. This is the other way that we get to keep Ho-Oh in fighting form, because we can, if we flip heads, we get any basic energy we want from our discard pile. All 6 of them are labeled on there. We could use it for all 6 if we want. So yeah, we can use the effect of this better than most decks can, so there is that. I am listening to stuff being played over there, and I have no idea what they're doing. We're also playing all 3 of the Experienzals that I have. If my active gets KO'd by damage, then 1 of its energy can get transferred to the Pokemon that has Experienzal. So you attach this to a benched Ho-Oh, and you can recoup your energy as it goes. Very, very useful card for this deck, because the costs are pretty expensive. And then 2 Goldberry, because Ho-Oh has got 90 HP. Also helps with the Electabuzz a little bit, because Electabuzz can self-damage, so it's nice to be able to heal a little bit with that as well. But it's mostly for the Ho-Oh, because this thing is chunky as heck. So there you go. The other deck I'm considering playing here, which I think is probably best deck in format overall, is Dark Gengar. We never actually played Dark Gengar in the set that came out, because Crobat was what I really wanted to play, so that's what we were doing. However, this card is disgusting, and even though I only have 2 of it, this is probably still the best deck in the format, and I don't even know, without dedicating a lot of slots to it, I don't even think it's close. So Dark Gengar, what makes it so good? 2 things. Its power lets you, makes both players flip 2 coins for sleeping Pokemon during each of their in-between turns, and if either of them are tails, the Pokemon is still asleep. This turns sleep from a 50% wake up to a 25% wake up, which is pretty ludicrous, to be honest. You're going to keep them locked way more often with this thing. You can't use more than 1 deep sleep because it is specifically flips 2 coins, not flips 1 additional coin, so it doesn't stack, but it doesn't have to. The attack is also really good. Like, it looks bad at first. 3 colored energy for 30 damage, what are you doing, right? But it guarantees sleep on whatever it damages, but you can also just force one of the opponent's Pokemon to come into the active slot. And if this is used on a baby Pokemon that is on the bench, and it isn't active at the time, you don't have to flip to KO it. So it does the right amount to just gust in a baby Pokemon and just kill it, Or you can put something to sleep that is going to damage you a lot otherwise, and it will do 30 damage to it as well, and force them to try and flip twice. This is also what gives this deck game against Muck, because you can pull the Muck in and then just put it to sleep. Or just kill it outright with the help of Strength Charm. So there is that as well. To facilitate this sleeping nonsense, we have Drowsy. This got reprinted in Legendary Collection. I don't know why they printed the Rocket one and not the base one, but they did, and it makes this deck work. Once during your turn before you attack, flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now asleep. If tails, your active is now asleep. That sounds really bad, because if you flip tails, you're going to put yourself to sleep, right? Wrong! Snorlax is also in Legendary Collection, and this thing cannot be affected by status conditions whilst its fixed skin power is active. So even if I flip tails, if I have a Snorlax in the active, it doesn't matter, because they're just not, it's not going to be affected. So if I can get 2 or 3 of these in play, I can just about guarantee the opponent's going to sleep every turn, because I only need to flip 1 heads, right? What are they? Oh my god, so much lag going on here. And of course, if the Gengar's in play at that point, then they have to flip twice. This Hypno is not really too good for the strategy. It is a placeholder for next set, because there is a Hypno in the next set that auto-sleeps the opponent if it's active, like the Hypno is active. So it's a placeholder so I can keep the deck as appropriate like counts here. And then we have a lot of server lag. I do not understand why there's so much lag going on with this here. I don't know what people are loading up. We have the Misdreavus as the other bit. I'm still on the fence about this, but I think this does serve a good purpose against Pokemon that are just too difficult to KO with the Gengar or the Snorlax, right? Because the Snorlax and Gengar, they both only do 30 damage. Paris Song, if you use Night Eyes the previous turn and the defending Pokemon is asleep, you just auto KO it. Now, it doesn't have to be asleep from the effect of Night Eyes, it just has to be asleep in general. So you could use long distance hypnosis. So long as you attacked it with Night Eyes previous turn, that's all that matters. So I think this is still worth playing, even though it is rather difficult to actually set up, especially here. As far as the other stuff goes, I'm only playing 1 Double Gust at this point. I initially had 2, but again, this deck also has a lot of heavy retreat cost stuff. You really don't want to be doing that. But the 1 Double Gust is still important for early game situations where you might need to use Haunter on something. Haunter is still pretty important as far as attacks go here, because you can either stop retreating or put them to sleep as its main thing there, so that's kind of important. My 2 Dual Ball, I only pulled 2, so we've got to play what we got. Trader, blah blah blah, the usual draw engine stuff here as well. This is pretty much what I've settled on this week because it seems to have worked out the best for me in terms of draw power. Triple Switch, because Snorlax especially is a chunky boy, and we need switch outs to be able to actually go into what we want here. Time Capsule is one that I didn't mention in the Ho-Oh deck, but it is there. This is our recovery, Nightly Garbage Run rotated. So we do need to have some sort of recovery tool here, and this makes both players have the option to shuffle 5 total from Pokemon and basic energy cards from their discard into the deck. You also can't play trainer cards for the rest of the turn once you've used this, so there are some unfortunate downsides to this card. But until next set, it is the only trainer card that we have, or only recovery tool that we have. So I'm still playing 1 anyway. Next set, this would be Town Volunteers and we'd be fine. 1 Rocket's Hideout. Stadium cards in general are kind of weak here, and Leo's disconnected again. Oh no. Stadium cards in general are kind of weak this set, so this might actually stick. And this gives the Gengar 90 HP, so it's a lot harder to take out, right? Snorlax is also very chunky at 90 HP itself, so Goldberry is fantastic for actually keeping it alive if the opponent does get to attack. And Strength Charm is there because these do only do 30 damage, so we kind of need a little bit more power sometimes. And this lets me KO Muck on the bench as well, so there is that. 17 Psychic Energy rounds out the deck at the moment. I'm not entirely sure if that is the correct count, but that is what I have gone with. However, I think I may well just take the rainbow thing here. I think this is probably going to be the one I want to play. As for am I okay? Yeah, this set has taken a lot to go through, and there have been a lot of lag spikes going on here. I don't know what's been up with that, but
Sorry, I was helping you with Leo here because he had some deck problems.
yeah, you may have frozen my game about 4 times there, but
Sorry.
yeah, so that's why it's taken so long.
Sorry. But yeah, I ended up mulling 6 times in the game. So
You mulligan 6 times in one game? How does that even happen?
His original build. I killed him turn 2 because I got an Amphi out and he was on water.
I see.
I like sheep, trip 3 charges from deck. Next turn, breeder, Amphi, GG.
I see. Well,
Yeah,
okay,
just
so
going through potential upgrades to it here because he came back with a version 2, which is a bit better. And that's what we're looking at here.
So has he been? He's been manually disconnecting off his stuff. Then he hasn't actually been.
He's having connection problems as well.
That's yeah. Well, slight catch. Both of the decks I have just explained here, I have already played you with. So I guess I should probably bring something else out then if I'm playing you.
Those 2 are done. Those 2 are done.
Okay.
So you can play one of those 2 if you want. Like, you've already played against what I brought anyway, because I brought sheep. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Oh, I don't know which one I should do. I kind of wanna play chicken because it's chicken, but
do it. It's not a bad deck.
It's not. That's the thing. It's like I'm basically because again you played both of these. I'm between that and the Gengar. Those are the 2 that I've
The Gengar's probably the better
right?
deck, but you know what I think about Gengar.
Yeah, oh, I do, and I think I would make Sai pretty mad if I did that this week. Besides, I can always do that next time with the Hypno that's proper in there, so there is that, whereas Chicken might not get another shot, because it can't use Rainbow Energy.
I'd say Chicken's fine next set, because it's Juggler.
Yeah, it's okay.
I just had no matchup.
Yeah, I saw. I'm gonna stay quiet for Cal's sake, but it was a funny thing to see.
Yeah, I am torn between 2 decks. I might need to just end up playing both of them at one point here. I am torn between 2, but I think this one is the cooler one, even if it's not the better one, so I think I'm going to play this one first. Pepper's already played both of the decks I'm considering this week. Sai has seen both of them, so I don't know when it comes to that, but yeah, I am thinking this is going to at least be the cooler one, so I think that's what I'm gonna go with here.
Who are you playing?
Well, the only one I've not played yet is you, right? So I guess if you're okay with it, that's probably probably for the best. Yeah, okay, already gone that way. Right, yeah, I'm gonna shift back up to the top one then, and light voice channel, and yeah. Okay, yeah, I have no idea how this is actually going to end up going, because I did not get to see anything from what is being played, because, oh my god, this set takes forever to go through. And, you know, okay, I do have stuff here. Can we stop loading things in, please? Jesus, hell.
Yeah.
They keep freezing my game.
That was earlier, but it was like
yeah,
rapid fire.
They keep freezing my game up. And yeah, I've already nearly had this thing like crash on me about 5 times because of all this. It's like it just stops responding for a bit. Is always the thing. Right. Anyway, what are we going for?
Heads.
Brave of you to assume I'm gonna flip heads, but you know what? It worked.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep. Fair enough.
What's the deal with supporters on first turn?
We can play supporters in the first turn at the moment. When we get to Gen 3 sets, that's when we can't.
Gotcha.
There's no limitation as to what we can do at the moment. It's like black and white, basically.
Alright, I'll go copycat.
Sure. So shuffle, draw 5.
5. Okay. Well, this is dead, so I'll Elm.
Sure. Yeah, I had to a couple of times. I had to like I was pausing in the middle of my explanation stuff, going, I don't know what the hell they're doing over there, but it's not just causing a lot of issues. A lot of weird sounds from stuff as well. I don't know if they were just like what they were doing with that, but you know.
I will pass to you.
Okay, let's draw. Well, it's not going to be super exciting, but I can at least do something. You've got, what, 6 in hand? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So, I think we're going to put Bulbasaur down. I may as well put the energy on the Cleffa so I can actually do something. After, we are going to copycat ourselves here. So... You are old. Shuffle Reno. Draw that. It's always the depressing thing when you do that and you don't get anything, so this hand is not entirely dead, but it's also not really going to serve me any purpose here, so I am just going to
Okay. Alright, that stays.
It stays until the end of the turn, yeah, it's not really relevant at the moment, apart from just reminding you that you've played one, but yep, go for it. But it is kind of important in any format where, like, Versus Seeker potentially or something like that could be available. That doesn't change until Gen 5, so... And I know there are formats that have Versus Seeker in Gen 3 and 4, like, in there somewhere. So it's mostly a good practice thing at the moment, is why I've been doing that.
Yeah.
You cannot take that.
Oh, no babies off of
No babies on dual ball.
Okay. Then I'll trade her for the baby and get a Mareep off of the ball.
Okay. Wait, so then where'd the Cleffa come from? Are you tradering the Ampharos?
Yeah, Ampharos into Cleffa and ball into Mareep.
Okay. Yeah, again, just making sure because you're skipping steps again here. Yeah, you did just shuffle that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'll shuffle it, but
I just making sure because of them playing as well. So like.
What to do? I guess I'll tap here and I'll be cat for 7.
Yep. Yeah, because you do ball with that. Oh dear. I don't think you have to actually like group your hand up first. If you just make sure that the cards drop on top of the deck, it'll be fine.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of just a habit at this point.
Oh, I understand that. It's just funny when it doesn't work and you end up showing some of the hand, you know?
Yeah. Alright, got an Elm.
This...
Do I even want that?
I was gonna say, this is looking almost a little wasteful, but okay. I don't know your draw engine, I guess, so maybe you've got like 14 draw cards or something and this is totally fine, but considering the attach as well, this is almost looking a little risky, but okay.
Pass to you.
Yep, I'm just gonna tail it. Yeah, because you've already gone through 4 draw cards at this point. Like, Okay, let's see what we can do.
Just gotta get set up.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, I'm also going to go for Dual Ball here. That's good enough. I'm gonna move it to this one because it's always weird. I'm used to kind of being on the other side where there's like one on this end and it's a lot easier for it to hang out. This one would be fine, but it just rotates the deck around and that's annoying. So I don't know. It's not a problem. It's just one of those weird. It's me being weird because I'm used to just playing solo stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might actually also shortcut things real quick here, and because I have a second dual ball, so I'm gonna go for a second one as well. So I've got 1 off of the first one, and 1 off the second as well. Okay, that's
nice.
Just so I don't have to bother like researching and stuff here. You've got 7 as well. Okay. In that case,
Yo.
I think... Hello. I think we're going to take a Clefairy and a Ho-Oh.
Did y'all just start?
Yeah,
We
we're starting in with this stuff here. So we will
You think you'll
do...
be finished in about 30-ish or 20-ish minutes?
Possibly, we'll see. I'd hope so, but...
Like 30's
I'll
probably
hang
alright.
on for about 30 more minutes, but
Yeah.
I gotta go after that.
Okay. Right, we do have Ivysaur. I'm going to put a fire on the Ho-Oh, and I'm just gonna eek here. I don't really see much else that I could get that I would actually need this turn, so let's not be bad and waste our draw cards.
Okay, got a Master Ball
Okay.
for... Ooh. Hmm.
Yeah,
That's-
we've been having some weird weird stuff happen with the with like cutting the top of the deck and whatnot as well. I don't know. We'll have to go over that later. But I was testing the Machamp and was finding some super weird stuff happening with that.
Gotcha. So, Master Ball for Ampharos and then Dual Ball. I'm assuming I'm going to get the Mareep off of this hand. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough then. Yeah, that's a reasonable enough shortcut to take with that.
No attachment yet.
Nope, no attached just yet. No.
I'll go a Warp Point.
Okay, I guess I will bring my Tyro again.
Okay.
Good job I have a second baby on the field at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who's loading stuff up still?
Me.
That's right, my game is frozen like 5 times so far in this stuff here because of all the things being loaded up with it. What are we
Baby
going for?
flip.
Oh, the... right,
This
okay.
one.
For each Mareep in play, yeah,
Gotta
search for
roll
lightning,
myself
jeez. Okay. Wait, so that attaches to this Mareep specifically, okay.
Yes.
So what you're telling me is if I kill this thing, I get rid of all your energy. Alright.
I'm just going to take 3 of the 4.
Sure. Yeah, because it's up to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may search, right, okay, yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. Right, let's draw then. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, problem is, no matter what I do with this here, in order to actually kill you, I'm gonna need to have a coin flip, which sucks. But, to be fair, you are weak to fighting, though, so that could be a pretty big coin flip on it. And that, by itself, is likely worth a lot. Okay, well, first off, we're gonna trade her. I'm gonna trade Clefairy in here. And we are going to pick ourselves up as soon as I can see where it is. When the deck opens up, we are going to get Clefairy Ball. Okay, so obviously this is going to evolve there. I don't really need to use it in this hand yet, but it's obviously worth having anyway. I'm going to attach, so I can at least go for it here. We are going to put Venusaur down. I don't need Harvest Bounty on a baby Pokemon, so there's no point in using it first. Like, yeah, bad order, whatever, it doesn't matter. Gonna put Experience All on the Ho-Oh. Debating whether I want it on... No, I think I will just research here. So, Shuffle, draw 5. And with that, let's go for it. Oh, of course. Because I'm not allowed to flip it when it's important. Yeah. That's a problem.
Gonna retreat.
No water in here, okay.
Attempt to... Oh, not that one.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah, I was gonna say.
And
Yeah.
eek.
Ah, how's it feel to be a lucky one?
Good.
This is so
I do
annoying,
enjoy
to
it.
be honest. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating, but I mean, could still do some stuff with it here. Okay, I am going to use the Clefable. I'm going to put a card back into my deck and get out what eventually lets me search. We are going to get a Lightning Energy.
I'm sorry, Kyle.
It's alright, it's not entirely on you that way. Right, so we're going to put Electabuzz down. I'm going to free retreat to that, and using the Venusaur's Harvest Bounty, we are going to put 2 energies on the Electabuzz here. And we're going to go for the attack, the Thunder Punch, which is going to land, okay. And then do I damage myself off of this? I don't. Okay, so we will take our prize and go for it.
Okay. Oh. No, because I eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Draw. Bill.
Yep.
I guess I'll ball. Bill first.
Oh, and stuff is frozen
There
again.
we go. Ball.
Okay, so what have you done? You've drawn and then Master Balled?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 bills and then a master ball.
Yeah, because my stuff froze as you were playing the second bill, so... Yep.
Goes to hand.
Oh yeah, you eked it away, didn't you? Right.
I did.
I was just looking at it going, wait a minute. Oh.
$70 damage. Deal me.
Yeah, this thing hits pretty hard if it can actually get the stuff on, which is quite good.
Mhm.
Yep, there it goes. This one, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then, cards in deck. Did attach.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, at least this week I'm able to draw cards. That was, you know, like, this isn't one of those anyone's game situations of it here. I have been able to play the game this time round.
Alright, I'll just go straight for Gigavolt.
Okay.
Really remember what this does.
It's 60 that we're taking here.
It's okay, cool.
Yep, so if it's heads, it's 20 more damage. If tails, it's paralysis. So... Okay, that's, could be worse. Let's get a Lightning Energy down on the chicken. I will use Clefable here. We're going to put a card from there. Search ourselves out a water. And this into hand. Might as well shuffle up anyway, because I'm not doing anything else with this hand right now. So I'm thinking whether or not I want to go for the Thunder Punch here. I think I just fund a shock here, actually. Because if I flip tails, I kill myself. Alright, well, I get paralysis. That could also help. So, can't complain too much, I guess. Will admit, wasn't actually the outcome I was expecting there, but then I'm too used to this thing flipping like 9 tails in a row for me. It has happened several times. It happened last week actually as well. It's pretty funny. I tried to dive bomb, I think it was the Dartmouth choke, like 8 turns in a row or something, and it flipped tails every single time without fail. It was really depressing. So
That's tough. Gonna oak. I don't
Sure.
know if I want to play anything else first. I guess I can Trader an Ampharos, and that's a Cleffa, which I'll bench.
yeah, that makes sense.
And then the oak. Okay, stays.
Yep. So you can do this bit.
Hello.
Bill.
Yep.
I think I just had a game where I flipped two plus track current heads up every time I used it. It was crazy.
Oh, did y'all finish the game already?
Yeah.
Okay. I made a lot of edits. If you wanna.
I'll jump into another room with you then, Leo, so we can talk.
Please do.
Gotta attach. So let's do that. Maybe here.
Interesting. Okay.
And I'll Elm. I think I'll Trader.
Sure.
I don't actually know if I have targets anymore. Ampharos. It doesn't matter because I'm Elming immediately, so I'll just leave it in there.
Yeah, that's fair. Because
There's
it's the
nothing I
same.
can play off of.
Yep. It's the same deal. Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Cool. From there, I will pass it to you.
Yep. Okay, let's draw. There are only 5 cards in my discard pile. How has that happened?
Yeah, cannot relate.
Well, no, I wonder why not. Okay, here's a neat little trick I found that I think you showed me actually in a way. Is like flip this down so you can actually just put the stuff up. I prefer. What I've been seeing with the stuff is that I know people have been playing the energy face down on it. I'd rather it be the tool that gets flipped down because then you're actually showing what energy's on. Because in this sort of situation, right, there's too many energy on it already, so it might be obfuscating the knowledge at that point. So I deliberately flip the tool over first so that it goes in that way. I noticed you doing that. I was thinking that's really cool. I'm gonna like adapt that. I'm gonna use the Clefable here, so I'm gonna take an energy, any energy out of the deck, right? Because it's all basics I need for this one. We're gonna take Psychic.
Yep.
So that goes into hand. Right now it's water, lightning, and fire that's on this thing. And we are going to go for the Thundershock again here. Same logic as before, really. Alright, paralysis again it is. Fair enough.
Okay, got a Master Ball.
Yep. I mean, if this guy gets to stay around, I'm okay with that.
Take this.
Every time. Yep. We want to fix up deck first.
Oh, yeah. And there, so you hit 70 currently.
6 energy in play total, huh? Okay.
Yeah, no attachment yet. What is in here? Okay. So 5, 6. Okay. What do?
Yeah, I've not actually gotten to use the Venusaur yet because it only works on the active, but it's effectively a double attach like Blaine would be.
I need to switch. So I'll go for. Let's see, what, 3? If you went 4, 5, you'd have 80 damage. Right? Not quite enough.
Not enough to one. I can never one-shot Ampharos because we only have 6 basic energies in this type-wise.
Yeah. It's funny.
Because we don't have Dark and Metal basics at the moment, so. But I can one-shot Zapdos though.
Warp point.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to bring up the Tyrogue again here.
Okay. Then Pyrogue.
I'm surprised. This thing's actually been pretty good.
Yeah, if it flips, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, even just having it as a second baby pivot here has been pretty good. Fire as well. This.
Fire.
I understand the non-lightnings. I'm just trying to work out what they're doing here. Right? You've shown 3 different energy types other than lightning here, and I'm just like, I'm almost wondering if we have the same set of them on in this deck, but we haven't obviously seen it yet, so
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me. It is any basic energy the Ampharos can move, so
Alright, I'm going in.
okay. Yep.
Alright, attempt to lightning strike.
Oh, you got it. Alright.
Nice.
I will not use the experience yet because I already have a lightning on this thing.
Oh yeah, good call.
So, yeah. Right, you've got your prize in. Yeah, because the experience all is optional, so... Alright, let's draw. Okay, this is probably gonna look a little funky. I feel like I've done this before and I'm not... This is weird. Yeah, I think I've actually done this before and it's quite the odd looking play, but it should work out quite nicely. I'm gonna put a second Ho-Oh down. I'm gonna switch to this one so I can use Harvest Bounty to double attach here. And then I'm gonna play Switch to go into Electabuzz.
Yep.
And I'm going to Thundershock again. Which I don't get this time, so that's fine.
Nice.
This should still be okay because I can still actually attack next turn, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's a little bit awkward because I guess what I could have done maybe is just like gone all in on the other one so I could have threatened a 90 here, but then you've still got enough energy in play. You could potentially retaliate with Thunderbolt, which I wouldn't appreciate. Oh, yeah, yuck. I guess I've got to make you discard the stuff. Yeah, we're gonna bring in Zapdos here.
Okay.
What are we targeting?
That's a good question. You have 4 or 5 lightning in play. You can hit for, what is it, 90?
If I can get all 6 different energy on, I can hit for 90, yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I was saying I should have done the more aggressive play last turn, but I guess obviously not, based on this. I think this was the sensible idea. That's what I was thinking, is like, I figured I didn't want to go too aggro on this, because I could just get punished by a big Thunderbolt, which I've been trying to avoid all game.
I feel like I want Ho-Oh here. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that seems fine.
Seems like the logical choice, to be honest. Yep. At the very least, this makes you discard most of your lightning in play, and leaves you with a fat retreat thing that's going to be painful to get rid of, if nothing else.
Thunderbolt.
Yep. So that takes it out. Secondary neat little trick here. I'm just gonna place it down so I don't think that. These are items. These are bags. Pepper's told me you can just draw out of the bag.
Oh,
It goes to the
wow.
hand. So, but yeah, you can just draw out of them if you want to get rid of your stuff.
Okay.
So that's really cool.
That's much
Alright,
better.
obvious switch in is to Cleffer here. And let's see what we can do. Oh, that is probably the best card I could have drawn there. Ideally, with a hand like this. Alright, let's put Energy Stadium down. And Top
Nice.
Deck Elm seems pretty freaking good here.
Okay.
Okay, Copycat might have been better, because like I wouldn't be locked out the trainers, but I think this is fine.
I didn't realize your hand was empty.
Yeah, I had nothing in hand, but you've still got to shuffle anyway. What I can do from here, though, is I can go ahead and use Clefable. So, I think I will. I'm just deciding what is best to put back here. Probably you, if I had to say. So let's use the Clefable. I have Grass and Psychic on this thing at the moment, so Fire will do nicely. Right, we will use the Energy Stadium here. Perfect. Get ourselves out the water that you just discarded. And so we will go Retreat. We will use the Harvest Bounty to put the 2 on, and we will Rainbow Burn for 70.
Cool.
Not quite enough to get a kill, but that is a lot of pressure on this thing.
Yeah. 14. Here.
Yeah, you've got a lot of energy discarded now, so it's a risk, but honestly, Energy Stadium is so good for this deck because I just get my yeah, go for it. I just get my my colors back that I need, right? So it's unbelievably powerful for this deck.
Yeah. I believe it. Okay, I'm gonna research.
Yep, so shuffle draw 5.
Let's see. Reader. If I fail to find, do I still put away the initial?
You have to bring it back. You need to trade something from your hand as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you can fail this, or you can't?
No, from what DNA told me, you have to, since it's a trade, the actions would happen simultaneously, so if you don't find anything, or, you know, you can take the one back that you put in.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
you
I'll
can just do that, you don't have to put the Cleffer in your hand here.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the Ampharos in this case. Did it already attach? Already Energy Stadium.
Yep. Your attach
So
was
I
from the
will
Energy Stadium. Yep.
Pass to you.
Okay. So we will draw. Now, luckily, even if you do get like the stadium and stuff here, you can't Thunderbolt me again. So that's something at least. I'm just contemplating. It's like, if I get the only problem, I guess, would be the bench down for us is kind of annoying. The Gigavolt thing. Like, if you flip Tails and paralyze me, that's a problem. But how much am I actually worried about that, though? Is the real question here. I'm not really sure. Let's not be a bad player. I'm pretty sure I can Energy Stadium here, right? Yeah, I have Fire and Lightning in there, so let's not be a bad player. Let's do that bit first. Okay. That is already like 4 times as much value as I expected to get out of this thing. So doing good. We're going to take the Fire here. You have that. Oh, you're just gonna get yours out already, yeah. Yeah, this is why I use like the PTCG sort quite a lot of the time, because that puts the energy to the top of the thing anyway. So it's quite nice there, but okay. Just thinking a little bit through. I think we go for a second Ho-Oh setup here. So I am going to put the fire on that and experience all on that. And I think I just KO the Zapdos here. It is a bit of a nasty threat in its own right. Can't let you get too much setup off of it.
Okay.
Because this thing can tank a hit from anything that you've got. I think that's pretty valuable in its own right.
Yeah.
And if you flip heads on the Ampharos with Gigavolt, then it actually just lets me kill it straight back, so, you know. Yep, Stadium. Nice. Well, that's both of us just flipped heads every time on it, so it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, I failed one, but...
Oh, right. Did he? Okay, yeah, I guess so.
Not a big deal.
Move that out of the way just so it doesn't interfere with anything.
Okay, well... Sure, do it. 90. Yeah, okay.
A lot of HP!
I'm gonna Energy Connect everything onto Cleffa, and then Poke Center.
Okay, yeah, sure. So that heals the 10 and the 20.
Yeah.
And that is why you were asking if it was still legal in the format.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Good here.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. So then go in that.
Oh my god, the coin landed on the side, are you serious? Oh, that's funny. Yep.
Attach from hand.
Mm-hmm.
Lightning Strike for 40.
For 40, yep, okay. Seems good to me. Okay, let's draw. Not quite what I need to see, but I think that's fine. Contemplating whether or not I need to do the stadium first, actually. Because lightning doesn't... Well, I mean, I suppose it could do something on this board, but it's not that impressive. I think... Okay, let's get sequencing right here. I'm going to use the Clefable first. So put thing back in deck. Question is, which one do I actually need?
That looks like they restarted.
Oh boy. I think all the options I have available to me at the moment are actually correct in their own way, and that's weird. You know, it's just one of those sorts of bizarre spots off it. It's like everything is right in its own way.
Yeah.
I think I go ahead and take fighting here. Unfortunately, I do not have Strength Charm, otherwise that would be very funny right now. Because I could actually go ahead and knock out with that, but we don't quite have that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fighting down here. I'm actually going to experience all of Venusaur too. This might end up having to attack at some point here. And we're at the sort of point where it's like not enough attaches left to really threaten later on. You've got 4 in hand, so I think that's good enough. We can copycat here.
Okay.
I have Clefable if I need energy out the deck. I have Energy Stadium I haven't used yet in this turn, so I think I'm okay that way. That seems fair enough. We are going to use the Stadium here. Don't get it this time, that's fine. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this thing getting KO. We're going to use the Rainbow Burn for 70, yeah. 70 means Electabuzz could actually KO it next turn as well if it stays as is, so...
Oh yeah. How about that?
Unless you've got Switch Pokemon Center in that hand right now. Which admittedly would be annoying, but not completely impossible to play around.
What to do?
There was a punish I could have had here, but off of 22 cards in the shuffle draw 4, I didn't expect it, you know? They're probably prized anyway, knowing my luck. I'd forget to check that far. Yeah, so this has got 2 energy on at the moment. The Venusaur doesn't have any. Electabuzz is still ready to attack if it needs to.
Yeah. Energy Stadium.
Okay, yep.
So... or... So don't have water in here? I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say you had water discarded earlier, right? Because I KO'd.
Yeah.
I think I KO'd the thing that had it on.
Might be better.
Yeah, so trade in the lightning for the water. Is that what's going on with this here?
Yeah, it's the consideration.
Yeah, I could see it.
And if I retreat, okay, I use me with 2 in play, got 3 in play, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down to 4.
Okay, for clarity's sake, which one of these are we taking then?
I'm still thinking. So it depends whether I want to try to fish for another Connect Ampharos or maybe use this current Ampharos. So we're missing water, psychic, lightning, grass. Get something like. Let's see what you think here. Just lightning.
Let's show next week.
How's Helium?
Next week is not a thing.
Next.
Yeah, Christmas Day, so we're calling a break.
I still can't hear you, Leo.
He was just saying.
I will catch y'all next week.
Right.
Or maybe next
Keep
week.
it on a Discord because Cal might have problems next week. He said. So.
Yeah. Okay. See, I needed.
Okay.
2 lightning up here. Taking the water.
Right. Okay. I was wanting to make sure of that first because.
Treating. Please. Guess. Does that matter? No. Keep one of these. Lose a lightning? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, there we go. This is a retreat. I think we're going in with this guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna do connect. Connect 4.
Yep.
And just so I can say that I actually did connect 4.
That doesn't mean you win yet.
No. Unfortunately, it's not. Okay, then I guess all that's left to do is attack
Yep.
with Gigavolt.
See what you get.
Give me that tails.
Ooh, okay. Spoiler alert.
Alive.
Spoiler alert, I might have actually wanted that outcome. We will see. Alright. I think it's going to rely on a head split from me, though, which is not amazing, but we will see. Unfortunately, just because of the way that I have my energy set up at the moment, I think it might rely on getting the coin toss here, but that's okay. Right, we're going to play Switch.
Nice.
I was holding on to this from before, so we're going to switch into Electabuzz. Because I need to manually retreat the Electabuzz here. I need the fighting because I've already put it on the other Ho-Oh. So we're going to go here because you can retreat multiple times in this era. We're going to go for the Energy Stadium.
Give me that tails.
Yeah, there we go, boy. That's what we want. So we're going to take the fighting. And we're going to use Clefable to put a card back and take the lightning. So then we can retreat back to the Ho-Oh, use the Harvest Bounty to put them all on, and do the full Rainbow Burn for 90 damage here. Take all the energy off the board.
Rainbow.
Nice.
Shout
I'm gonna
to
check my
Kappa
top
Pride
card and
right now.
probably scoop.
Pepper, please. What do you say with that, Matt?
I've drawn my first
right.
card and I'm gonna concede.
Yeah. Sorry, I just needed to actually hear what was going on in the game there, Pepper, so, like, I appreciate the enthusiasm, don't get me wrong, because that's a hype as hell attack right there, but I do need to actually hear what was going on. I cannot believe this deck. Yeah, but I cannot believe this deck actually works. This is crazy because this attack looks way too ridiculous, right? Yeah, 4 different types of energy to actually do the best out of it. You can attack with less, but really you want like the 4 energy on this thing. It's like, how is that even supposed to work, right? But it does. It's legit. Like,
It has the support now.
Yeah,
It legitimately has the support.
I have no notes. I think that's pretty perfect.
Next deck against Juggler.
Yeah, Juggler could help. I think you'd probably
I think
would.
Juggler justifies higher energy count, and it helps set up stadiums.
You'd probably want to lean a little bit more into retrieval stuff at that point, I reckon. But
Fair.
which I don't.
Fisherman then, but
Yeah,
that's another step
nah,
away.
but you can't Juggler and Fisherman in the same turn. That's the unfortunate bit there. Oh, so you guys are bringing out all of this stuff. Is that the? Okay, so I have played the other 2 with this deck already. I did have one other one I was considering, but they have also seen it already. Dark Gengar was the other deck I ended up building for this one. But I want to wait until next week before, next like stream before I properly do that one, because the Hypno that's in the next set is evil with that thing. Hypno auto sleeps the opponent if it's in the active spot, like as a once per turn power. So yeah, we've got long distance hypnosis on the Drowsy, which is great with Snorlax, but Hypno just being able to do it automatically is insane. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna spread my one down here because I'm pretty freaking proud of this deck. Actually, it's super cool, if nothing else. Yeah, I went over this one a little bit in my own stuff, but so you can see as well. It's below the Fiend deck stuff down here. I guess we should maybe do a bit of cleanup at some point, but yeah, so you can see the stuff here as well. It's I have 3 of the Venusaur, but I don't generally need it in most of the decks that I've been testing with it. So it's just a 3/2 of the Venusaur, the 1/1 Clefable because I had to get the one from the Fiend deck actually. But honestly, I don't think I need to in here. It's great when I can get it, but there's enough ways to get it that it's not really been a problem. And if I don't have it, it's generally fine because I can use like Energy Stadium and stuff at that stage. Tyrogue was because I wanted something that didn't attack for 4 energy. That was, you know, the like basic start of it. And Electabuzz kind of came in for a similar reason, but Buzz also helps to deal with water types that Venusaur can't. So, you know, I've got Dart for Alligator. Nobody else, I think, here does. Kib does, but he's unfortunately not able to play consistently here. So, like, a lot of water types now are actually weak to lightning, not grass, now that the Feraligatr from Neo Genesis is not playable much. I'm sure there's a way of doing it, but not right now. Maybe with Juggler, you could probably try it, but, yeah, the Electabuzz is there to cover the water weakness on the Ho-Oh, but the Ho-Oh itself is just insane. It can sometimes struggle to get set up if the opponent gusts it enough. Like, the Crobat deck was pretty annoying for that because they just play 4 Double Gust and Confusion is a bot. But, you know, yeah, if it gets outpaced or if it gets Gust at the wrong time, it's kind of bad. But otherwise, yeah, I pulled 2 Dual Balls, so I have that. Free Trader seems to be correct here. Like, I'd love to play 4, but I think 3 is probably the correct number in this deck. It's only 17 Pokemon total, so trying to play more might be a bit sketchy. Draw support line I've lined it up with this set has just been 4 Elm, 3 Copycat, 3 Research, and then usually 1 or 2 like Training Method. Some decks I've played Bill in, but I needed more space in this one, so I couldn't really fit it in, because, you know, 15 energy is a bit heavier than a lot of the decks would go. Super Retrieval to pick up the stuff that way if the Energy Stadiums aren't working out. Experience Ore keeps all the stuff in play, and I did pull 3 copies of it, so I'm kind of grateful for that. And then the punish you didn't see was the Goldberry. I have 2 copies of it, and if I could have pulled the Goldberry with that like Copycat for 4, healed off the damage you lightning struck on me, I think that would have been the game set before even getting to the finale point there. So, yeah. I only play the 1 Double Gust in this deck as much as I would want more gusting options because, unfortunately, 2 Retreat Cost is a bit expensive to play, and I don't mind Warp Point, but I think Vanilla Switch has been just, like, better in my own testing for the most part. Yeah, it's annoying to have to, like, hit babies and stuff, but Electabuzz is good at taking those out, right? And, I've just found that giving the opponent a chance to switch is just going to give them the chance to bring in their baby Pokemon, and that just like disrupts your turn. We saw that with having Tyrogue as well as Cleffa down. I could just bring in Tyrogue and, you know, you still had to baby flip every time. So, I don't think Warp Point is bad. I personally, in this format, prefer just having Vanilla Switch right now. That might change next week though, we'll see. Or, again, next session. Yeah, I tried a couple of different builds in the end. We had the initial one was with the Charizard that everybody else is looking at down here. This is Pepper's version, but mine is pretty similar. I think you just play the builds and I play other bits that way because of what I've got. But yeah, very similar sort of idea where the Charizard just one-shots everything, and it's kind of silly. But if it flips 2 tails, you're a very sad panda.
Yeah, 2 tails just takes the wind right out of you in this deck. Anything else, and you get low and you're feeling really good because things are dying.
Yep. I tried it with the Raichu as well because they were wanting to just like. Feraligatr was a fairly big pull from Sai, I think, and he wanted me to try Electric Garden because the theme deck, right? Like, the theme deck is just bad, but we could make a better version of it. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out. The idea is solid because the Raichu just consistently hits 60 every turn, right? And you just energy retrieval the 2 lightning back, 2 lightning and a grass attached. Like, it's a decent idea, but it wasn't actually very good in practice. So that was a bit of a shame. And then, yeah, there was a couple of other ones I was looking at for it. I played a 101 Venusaur line in Machamp, and my game is frozen again.
Yeah, sorry.
That's alright. No worries. Just making sure nothing weird has happened with it there. But yeah, no, there was I tried Machamp out because I pulled like 3 of that, but wasn't quite as solid in the end, I don't think. Yeah, otherwise though, I think that was the main stuff. Like, the Venusaur was the standout for me in this set, just because the double attach thing just lets you play so many different decks. And, like, it's okay as its own attacker. The Ivysaur is really good. But the Venusaur's okay, right? Paralysis can sometimes disrupt a lot of stuff. I'd seen there wasn't really quite as much Switch being played at the beginning of the week, more or less. That was getting skimped down on a little, so we took advantage of that. That was where Dark Gengar came in as well.
Even with the Switch, that's an evil little...
Yeah, that matchup is hard to play, but yeah, I don't know. There was it just like I've just been seeing what can I play with this like Venusaur all week, because again Charizard's the obvious one, but a lot of decks appreciate having the ability to get 2 energy out per turn, right? So it's just what can you do with that, and this was ultimately one of the better things I landed on, despite thinking it was just going to be a meme. Because, like, how could this deck be good when you play 6 different energy and types in it and stuff, right? But no, it actually turned out to be legitimate, and yeah, it's probably my biggest surprise out of this week, to be honest. How about yourself? What sort of things were you looking at?
Oh, sorry me? Sorry.
I mean, I've seen a decent bit of what you were looking at. I was seeing more of Matt here. Like, what have you been looking at this week?
Gotcha. I don't know. I was feeling pretty uninspired looking at... I think I got decent pulls. Like, I got some Dragonites and Gengars and stuff, and obviously the Ampharos as well.
Yep.
There's nothing I was feeling super passionate about, but I thought Energy Connect's Pokemon Center seemed okay. Yeah, that's where I landed. I actually strongly agree. I should have played switches instead of warp points here. Those hurt me a lot. Like, I think I got one good use out of a warp point against Psy in a game, but every other time I would have rather just had the switch.
Yeah.
Same conclusion I came to as well. It just brings in a baby more often than not.
Yeah. Once babies are gone, probably warp point's awesome, but...
And there will be a time where that's possible as well. I don't remember what sort of distribution it has in the Gen 3 sets, but with Expedition on after we get Skyridge done, I think that's when Pell recommended we do it anyway. So given that he played that in the past here as well, I think that's reasonable. Yeah, so when that's also when Double Gust goes as well, so I guess we've got that as an added incentive. But yeah, with Cleffer out of the format, I think it would be a lot more reasonable to play the stuff there. I did see that you had like 3 of the Gengar, and I think nobody else pulled Gengar, so I don't know about Leo because I haven't seen his stuff, but I know none of us pulled the Gengar, so it's just a shame. I was kind of looking at that deck. It could be pretty neat, but...
Yeah. I'm not terribly attached to it, so if someone does want them...
Yeah.
I've been looking to get into the Psychic deck at some point.
I guess I can understand why you wouldn't be too enthralled with it if we're looking at it being somewhat similar to Dawnfan in a way, right? With being the hit and run style. Because I remember you saying you didn't really like that before. I can understand why you wouldn't.
Well, it's funny. I actually love hit and run. That's probably my favorite archetype, and I try to build it anytime it's reasonable to do so. I didn't like Dawnfan because Double Gust is ubiquitous and super strong, and Vileplume also kind of made things difficult for it.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Rather, I guess Vileplume wasn't as good a counter as you would want, was really the issue, because of Wigglybuff.
Fair.
I don't think there's much Wigglybuff in this format. Not now Parasect and Gator are basically gone. I don't know what you'd even run Wigglybuff to stop. It's Muck that's the problem.
Yeah, not anymore. It would. I think it was really just Vileplume.
Dawnfan cares that much about Muck existing, because it can live without spikes, and it has a grass resist if they try to set it up. Because you should be running. I don't care what the Jason block says. You run Fortress with your Dawnfan. I don't care what Jason's block says. Those two go together.
I do think the... Oh, go on, Matt.
Oh, I was just gonna go back to hit and run and say that, yeah, I think Donphan has improved a bit, I guess. I don't know. People are playing less Gust, at least, so maybe in our meta.
Well, I actually played a lot of Gust in certain. You didn't see this one this week, but I was messing around with bats again.
Hmm.
Something like this, I would always run the 4 Gust.
Oh, sure, yeah.
There's been a couple of decks I've been looking at that way. Typhlosion, I ended up playing my 2 reversals instead of the Gust because Typh has got a 2 energy retreat cost, right? Same sort of thing as this. You are right in the sense of, yeah, I haven't been able to play quite as many Gust off the stuff here, but that's mostly just been because of the nature of the Gusting, I think. Like, reversal on the coin flip sucks. It's so annoying. And when I've been playing the Venusaur stuff, it's like, if I actually am set up, most of the time I have quite a few, like, 2 energy retreat cost out, right? So actually playing the Gust is awkward, and as nice as it is to play, like, the Gust plus Switch thing, I don't like having to have that combo, as well as that much deck space being taken up for it, right? It just seems a little tough to manage, I think. But there are some decks. I had pure Venusaur built as well, actually, which is just Venusaur with Dodrio was the main thing of that, like two Dodrio to do stuff. That one I think I played 3 double Gust in because it's like Dodrio lessens the burden and you can just energy trans anywhere anyway. So that one is pretty fine, but yeah, it's been a little bit harder to fit the Gust in just because of the retreat costs and stuff here. But that's okay. I mean, they're still very good, and there are decks I've been looking at that would play more, but it's just, sometimes it's a case of fitting them too. I mean, where would you fit extra Gust in this deck? Like, it's really hard, because this needs a lot of the stuff that's in here with it.
The only thing I can see is over 1 stadium, but I'm not sure how big a deal that is for the deck because of how much it needs the colours.
You know the funny thing with that, actually, I'm just looking at it at the end there. If I flip Tails on the first Energy Stadium, I was going to bounce it with another copy of itself, because I'm pretty sure you can use that again at that point, because it's a soft once per turn that's on it, right? So I had 2 chances at the end there.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons to keep 2. The second is because, well, I need the energy back, and I need unique energy quite a bit here. The super energy retrieval is good, but it's good like once, right? This energy stadium, when it's stuck in play, yes, it helped you a fair bit as well, but it was just there to give me stuff I needed like 4 or 5 turns in that game. It was really, really good. And it just gives me the exact energy that I want as well, which, yeah, you can't necessarily do with some of the other stuff here.
Do you have a 4th Ho-Oh?
I don't, but I don't know if I would play 4 if I did. It's a little bit hard to get even the free setup here.
Yeah, 3 sounds like the right number in this.
If I was to change it, I would probably go cut this, and play just a more even spread on the energy.
You need
then
electric,
I think that lets you... Yeah, so sure,
finish.
cut Buzz. I'm fine with that. Then that frees up your like energy recovery stuff, so I would cut Capsule. I think Goldberry's kind of meh, and Retrieval as well. That gives you lots of space for 4th Ho-Oh, 4 Bill, and whatever else.
I wouldn't cut out that much energy recovery without adding a bit more into this. Unless you're running a bunch more raw energy.
I can see the idea.
You do need a secondary attacker, and if you're cutting the grass, it's not the Venusaur. So you got to find another thing to use, either more Tyro or something.
I can definitely see the idea. The time capture was mostly because we don't have any other recovery really here, and it's I guess in this deck it might not be quite as necessary, but I didn't have a second super energy retrieval, so I was more just hedging bets there. But also it's like, if one of the Ho-Oh gets taken out early, and you just then don't really have enough stuff otherwise. I have actually time capsule for the Ho-Oh fairly often here, but
I guess I do like retrieval though. That may be pretty good since it goes to hand.
Yeah, and the fact of
I
Harvest
like
Bounty.
this card. I know it's probably going to get replaced with Fisherman eventually, but I like this card. Now that Chaos Gym's gone, the threat of it being dead in hand is gone, it's just so nice to have in late game in a lot of decks. Because this is 4 energy in late game. That's just huge. That means you just don't run out, unless it's all prize.
Also, not to just defend Evan, because I do think the Goldberry could potentially be cut. They weren't in the initial list, but the idea of that obviously is Ho-Oh is big, and it takes a long time to get going, right? But it's also really big, and that can just prevent the opponent from two-shotting it at any sort of point. And if they can't two-shot this thing, and it can get like 3 attacks off at 70 per, what's recovering from that most of the time, right? There's not really going to be a lot that's actually going to keep up with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's very possible to cut it, but I have found it's actually come up a decent bit in the games I've played with it too. So I don't hate its inclusion in my own setup here, but I could easily see it, as you're saying, being cut for like Bill or something there. But I haven't found that I needed more draw than this in the end. I could have played another Professor Oak. That would have been a potential consideration, just to have another out to stuff that way. But this has been about what I've needed with the level of like search and recovery stuff in here as well.
The Goldberry depends, I mean, I'll say exclusively on the decks you're playing against, and I think that's actually was pretty good in this field. So it works on Ampharos, works on Ampharos, and it works on, I guess maybe not Gator. It's hard to say, because, I mean, Dugtrio needs to get 2 magnitudes on you, and then not do 40. So I would say it probably doesn't really work against Gator, but if you're hitting half your opponents, that's good.
You're weak to water.
Let him finish first, Pepper.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, so you need to be at pristine health to survive. Which
is where this little guy comes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, since you didn't get to play Leo, if I'm not mistaken, then, you know, half your field was suffering pretty bad from Goldberry, so in that case it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, what did Leo play actually? Because I didn't get to see his deck at all.
It first came to you with pure Gator deck, like double Gator, both Tsunami and Dark. But his initial build had 4 basics, so it was just a mulligan simulator. We eventually tweaked it a bit to run a Tyranitar line as well, to both cover electrics and be more basics.
Was he playing Riptide or the new one?
In the end, because I had to basically said, okay, there's better Larvitars than this, because running the new Larvitars when the Neo ones are better, especially for countering lightning, because they resist lightning. But that's basically the bulk of what he had that I saw. He was trying to run Hyper Devo spray to switch between his Gators, so I didn't agree with that. That's just me. But
was it Tsunami Gator?
Tsunami and Dark, who was running both.
Okay.
It was like, I didn't see his final build because he went for more tweaks before our last game and never spread his deck.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I didn't get to see it at all this week. Yeah, the problem with that is that you can't evolve the Dark Croc into the normal Gator.
I told him to run Breeders for that because he didn't actually know Breeder was in the format until I pointed it out to him.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah, because he was running 3 stage 2s at that point. Why wouldn't you run the full Breeder spread? But
that is 3 separate deck ideas in one at that point. Dark Gator itself is actually really strong. There was a version of that I was considering playing this week as well, which I guess I can bring out. But yeah, Dark Gator itself is incredibly powerful in its own right. The regular one, as you say, the Tsunami one, I actually do think is decent. It's a shame we lost the Golbat though, because that would have been the ideal sort of partner for it, right? Just so you can ping 10 and then get the 70 damage off on it. But we don't have that anymore because the rotation was dumb. I know it's like, oh, you would have just played bats every week from there. Not necessarily, but like, no, the rotation was stupid for the Golbat line.
Different flavors of bats, anyway.
Sure. As we basically freeze our game up as loading the stuff up there again. No, but like the Dart for Alligator is insane. I think it was actually one. This was with Slowking in the format though, right? But I'm pretty sure it did. It did win Worlds this year, this season, right? In the Dark Gator.
Well, I'm not sure if it won Worlds. I haven't really checked.
It's just
I think that was a Slowking filled Worlds, but I'm not sure.
Well, it was instead it replaced the Noctowl with Slowking, and that was what won. Essentially. But no, this deck is extremely strong in its own right, because this Scare is just ridiculous for stopping people setting up. I think the only reason I didn't end up playing this is because of a certain other Venusaur build down here that was potentially problematic. Because, you know, that's kind of strong against it. But
I can kind of see a T-Tar Dart for Alligator working, but I don't think I like it as much as this.
No, because this deck is just nuts because you've got the Noctowl for doing the rocket sneak attack stuff every time, and then you combine the Gator's Crushing Blow with Energy Removal too, right? I know they're both on coin flips, but that's where your, you know, law of averages comes in, right? You're gonna get at least one of them eventually, and it's like. Yeah, I happened to get 4, so it was the case of I can just play this as well if I wanted to. And yeah, this deck is kind of insane in its own right. But I don't think it really melds with many other things, really. You play the Disruption engine with it because it's a Disruption attack that's on it. I don't think you can really get away with playing it with, like, especially not Tyranitar, but the other Gator even, I don't think you can really justify it with, just because of the difference in the evolution lines.
What I'm surprised it showed more is this annoying fucker. I was actually legit thinking there's going to be at least one of a Muck player, and I want to be ready for that.
I mean, I won't lie, I did kind of expect you to have Muck in this one, Matt, just because of all the powers and stuff going around here. But I guess it's hard in a... Well, on the one hand, it's hard in a new format to go, oh yeah, I'm just going to play the stuff with it that way. But on the other hand, it's like, this is a new format that's like... There could be a lot of scary stuff out here. We just played Denial as the first thing of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
If I had more of the Ampharos that, let's see, I guess this is Pepper was playing, I probably would have played Muck. Yeah. I just didn't feel like I had a low enough energy cost attacker, stage 1 or stage 2, to pair it with.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fair enough. Like Muck just fits in this deck so naturally because the Grimer helps cover grounds as well, and it's the small line. Like even before the build before this was just Magby in here and very low Pokemon count. So adding Muck also lets me run traders and stuff, and it just fits in so nicely. Like, the basic idea is the same as you'd expect. Sheep charges Zapdos. Zapdos gets a metal. Good luck, have fun. It's a very simple deck, but it works. I settled on 2 metal even though I had 3 because Zapdos only really needs 1 and nothing else takes it that amazingly. Like, the Ampharos is okay with it, but other than that, it's clever and retreat costs.
Oh, that was the other one you didn't get to see this week. As another thing we were working on the Venusaur for. I built it with Arcanine as the other one because I pulled 2 metal this week. So if you get 2 metal on the Arcanine, it's like it's 100 HP. It does 60 for takedown at that point, and it doesn't do recoil to itself with 20 permanent reduction every turn. It's like, yeah, have fun with that, you know. I think that was the second version of the Venusaur stuff. The first one was the Charizard, the second was the Arcanine, and then the third was this, the Ho-Oh stuff. So
I will say, if I knew the field would be muck free, I would have gone with the with this deck down here, because I think this deck's generally better when it's not getting mucked on. But muck hurts his Zard so much. It's hard to run the energy split to make that work without muck. Without its power kicking in. Cal's already gone over this card deck. I like the 2 retrieval there so I never run out of energy late game. Maybe I could go to 1. Not sure there. Reversal just because I don't want to risk double dusting in Venusaur. 2 switch goes and everything to me, especially with Dark Gengar being a threat. I genuinely really like Switch, so.
I opened Pandora's box of that one, I think.
I'll just say I'm starting to look at my full heal energies in a lot better light.
One thing I always notice with your stuff here, man, is I think you've done this quite a bit in the past too. I know you've got the full breeder, but you don't play any of the Fluffy in here. I noticed that in the game too. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have traded for that if you had it. So,
yeah.
I guess
it gets prized a lot. I do like having the 1 mid stage in breeder decks where I can find space for it.
Yeah, if I was to play this again, I would play 1 Flaffy. My thought was I want to turn 2 Ampharos attract current, so I'm going to go all in on breeders. But when you have traders that become kind of dead later on, it's good to have at least 1.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on this Amphi, to be quite honest. Not just because I whiffed it, but for one, I don't think these go in the same deck because they want different energy layouts, basically. Ampharos wants a lot of lightning in its deck. Because I'm not sure if you noticed when I was playing, but I could fill with decent flips. I fill my bench with lightning energy very quickly. Whereas this needs it, this needs a lot of non-lightning energy, ideally. I notice you only pay 3. That seems sketch to me. With no energy searching.
I've found it to be pretty fine. The idea is you're going to attach 2 non-lightning energy during the entire course of the game, and then you're relying on healing.
Yeah, that sounds dicey though. In case, like, for one, you might want to spend 1 on your Cleffers. That's always going to be a possibility.
I don't know. You should try it out yourself if you're curious about it. I think it's better than you think.
Yeah, I think that's always got to be the one.
Why this and not the legendary collection Venusaur? That's the other thing I'm questioning.
Don't make me mute you. As I was trying to say, I think that's one thing that actually is really important to do with a lot of the stuff here. Something I found myself is that it's very easy to get sort of stuck in your own like deck building thing, and you think that your way is the only way type of stuff of it, and it's like, or your way is just the best way every time of it, and anything else is a big disagree point. It's worth actually looking at stuff like this and playing it a little bit yourself too. Really work out like how it functions and go for, you know, just like go from there, because sometimes things work a lot better than you expect them to. Yeah, case in point, Rainbow Chicken. You know, sometimes things really do just work better than they look on paper, and yeah, it's worth playtesting with some of the stuff here.
I just got a really sorry. I got a really stupid idea in my head. Mega Ultra Chicken. You say 1 line of the chat for every type of energy you put on this thing. Sorry, I just brought it in my head and laughed.
You know, the funny thing with that is Mega Ultra Chicken is usually what I called Zapdos. Like, MUC was what I always called Zapdos in my old Leaf Green randomizers whenever I caught that, because the legendaries weren't randomized at that point with what I was doing. So whenever you got to the power plant and caught the Zapdos, I always called it MUC, because this was the Mega Ultra Chicken to me, but it makes a lot more sense being Ho-Oh, I guess. Yeah, but
Sorry about that.
I might actually take this one and save it myself because again, this is just something we weren't able to play, to be honest. Like, because again, Pepper's one is pretty different because of the different RP count. So yeah, I might actually like take a look at this myself because again, it's just not something we've been able to even play against all week because it's just very different in idea. Also, I do, as much as I like the setup I've got with my own stuff, I do appreciate the 4-hours and everything here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love the consistent approach of it that way. I can never manage to keep that in my own side with stuff because I always it's either I don't have 4 of a thing or I need to fit something else in that ends up being, you know, like really important as well. So I can never manage it myself in this sort of format, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm surprised you hit Master Ball so often with only 12 Pokemon in the deck, though.
Yeah.
It seemed... I don't know. Right, so normally I would play more with the stuff here, but considering I've already played both of these two otherwise with the stuff I've been thinking this week, we took a fair bit to actually work out what sort of trainer line we really need now, because it's been a while since we've been able to build a deck with any semblance of consistency tools in them, so, you know, kind of helps when you've got, like, Research and Copycat and Elm and stuff like that in it now, you know. But it took a bit to figure out, like, the actual lines and stuff here. So we've already kind of gone over all of that before. So, plus, I did actually post a midweek match as well, so we're in a separate thing here. So, even if it is only a one game,
midweek match.
it was a really good midweek match, yeah. So even though there's only been one game in this one, I think that's fine for this round. I'll play more next time because we'll have more stuff to do in the next set, I'm pretty sure. But that one's going to be at least a week out, possibly 2, because it will be on New Year's Day as well the next Saturday, right? So it's very possible between that and the fact of we do have to be out of here by mid-January, so we are going to be hopefully moving stuff pretty sharpish. I may not be able to play that much for a bit, for a while. So definitely do the drafts and stuff, get things going that way. But we might not be able to play for a couple of weeks or so out of this. So I will keep you posted, obviously, but just keep that in mind as well. That there's no like immediate pressure of, as you're saying, like half an hour before starting you hadn't quite finished a deck type of thing. Don't worry about that for a bit. You've got at least 2 weeks, probably more, to actually make stuff here. So
Yep.
GG's with it though. That was definitely cool. Like it was really good seeing this Ampharos come in, to be honest. Just because it's again not something we got to see all week. So, and I do actually think this card is good. I think it's a bit maybe a bit like less plug and play than some of the stuff we've had before, but I do really like that power. It's that power would have been really good to have as like a 101 line in here if I put Breeder in, right? Because being able to move my energy to a different Ho-Oh, I was half expecting you, because you were playing the 3 different colors I saw there, I half expected you to like late game bust out a Ho-Oh, switch to it, and just go in all the thing. I had a yeah, go on.
Good. I was gonna say I had a 1-of and I cut it at the last minute, which I think was fine. I don't think it would have done anything against your deck, and I won my other game, so.
Yeah.
Is the Flappy a good replacement for the Buzz?
Oh, in here?
Yeah. It's not amazing. I'm sure if you've got to use this one or the Neo one with the 20 for L, but...
Yeah, I like the Electabuzz because Thunder Punch can kill babies. That does come up surprisingly often, actually. But, yeah, I don't know. If I actually had the Amphi to Energy Connect, then I would maybe consider it, but that would be a different build entirely at that point.
Yeah,
I don't think
you
this
need
needs
more
it.
space for that. A Tyro is probably gonna have to go. Yeah.
I think if you do play this Ampharos, you should definitely not be playing 3, maybe 2, maybe 1.
Yeah. I've been finding
the
that
other
with
one's better.
Venusaur as well. Sorry. Yeah,
Oh, you're good.
I've been finding that with Venusaur too. It's like, especially because Harvest Bounty is a hard once per turn, even if it doesn't like read that way, because it only works on your actual like natural energy attachment, and it replaces it with something else, right? So you can only ever use one of them, and so it's like I have 3 copies of it, but I don't think I would ever play 3 copies of it.
Yeah.
Just because you only ever need one out on the field at any given time. And yeah, I think this Ampharos is the same way in general. You only ever really need the one of them. So you can probably play 2 at most and go from there.
Yeah.
Still, very cool though. Right, so I think I was hearing Sai getting his Aquapolis stuff set up here. So I guess I should probably put the stream marker down so I can get to the end of this one. And yeah, thank you very much for playing with that. As again, super enlightening with that, and I just had fun with this one. This deck was way more fun than I thought it was going to be, and yeah, I'm glad I brought this instead of Dark Gengar in the end. That would have been miserable.
Yeah.
We've been sort of worried about Gengar being like the best deck of format type thing off it, and it was like, well, at least I have it, so that you know it's not coming out every week. Because you know, I mean, hey, I told you, and it came true. You play for Alligator every week that it was available at that power level. So
Yep.
you could play it again next week, technically, though. Juggler is a pretty freaking good card for it. If you get 4 of that, that is probably playable again.
Maybe.
Discard
Is there another
2.
theme deck?
Oh yeah, there is. Do
Yes,
you want me
there will
to?
be, yes.
Do you want me to bring them out real quick?
Yeah,
That would
because
be
I'll
good.
need to grab them too.
Yeah. Okay. So we have these ones.
Can
I
we
think
tidy
are.
up these ones?
Yeah, probably could. So these ones are a little bit less lopsided, I think, this time round than the previous ones. I don't know if you want to just save the raw object before I spread them, or...
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
so let me just get the names out for it again here. I think it's Rock Garden and the Abyss or something, but let me just bring the stuff back out again. Yeah, the grass top one is Rock Garden, and the water top one is Abyss. So it's if you want to save the whole object before we spread them out, because that just makes it easier, right?
I'll just say that I might be looking for the Nido King
I
in
got
the
one.
Rock Garden deck a bit. I'm
You
not
got 'em?
sure how many of those I'm going to want, but might want a couple.
Gotcha.
If anyone's thinking about it.
Okay, so you've got the garden, so we'll spread that. I've included the energy in here just because it keeps it consistent, because not every deck has got the same energy count in it. So it would be like, why is this deck only like 36 cards or something? It's because they put 24 energy into that one, right? This one, these are the same, but no, actually no, these are different. Case in point, there's like, you know, 25 energy here, and there's 26 in this one. So they don't keep it consistent in this era. So yeah, both of these decks are good in their own right. Obviously, it depends on what you actually pull as to what you want. I think on average, Abyss is probably better, because I am actually thinking this Paragon 2 is amazing. It's not necessarily amazing with the Expedition set only, but if you play Furret instead of Clefable, you're taking more cards out of your hand to use its effect, because it can get special energy as well, that's why. And that means you've got this like once per turn, just like draw until free. Works really well with a lot of consumable trainers and stuff, right? Your item cards. But the deck at the top has got Pokemon Fan Club, which is probably the most important card in the Expedition series, right? Because that actually can get you your Cleffer. So...
Yeah, this is a very good card. I can tell already. I'm gonna want this.
Yep.
Even if this is the only card that I missed, this is still extremely valid. Even though this has more cards that I actually want.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's pretty even between the two of them. And I mean, even just looking at the actual, like, main cards of this one, like, Nidoking is not bad at all in terms of its actual traits here. The Executor is better with the Meganium that like none of us pulled, apart from Kib, but it could still be used in a bunch of stuff, to be honest. That Cold Shot is still respectable. So like the Executor was a meta deck of the time. And I think the Blissey is respectable enough as well if you can just get enough energy on it. It's big. Or just play Chansey and scoop up, right? And then from the other one, the Kingdra is really good. I could easily see me playing one of this with the Revelation Kingdra, just because that Rapids attack is kind of pretty strong. Water Cyclone is also good, right? 120 HP, blah blah blah. And Porygon is obviously nuts. And depending on what your actual pulls are like, you might want the Juggler from here, or you might. I think Pepper at least doesn't have as many like Oaks research, right?
So
yep, so that could be pulled from previous set stuff. But really, it kind of just depends. Both of these decks are good in their own right, which is much better than I can say for last week's ones. So yeah, just feels good to actually allow the stuff that can let you play the game, right? You know, stuff like Fan Club is would be so much of an annoyance to miss, you know. Right, okay, I'm gonna add them on.